Have you ever dreamed of traveling the world in your golden years, only to feel a twinge of worry about what could happen so far from home if you're over 70 or have loved ones who are? You might have heard that there are extra risks when you jet off to distant places. Sometimes these stories sound exaggerated, yet there's some serious truth behind them. In today's video, we're going to reveal 7 hidden dangers older travelers often face, so you can head out or decide to stay put with your eyes wide open. Because let's be honest, the last thing you want is for an exciting vacation to spiral into a health crisis, a financial headache, or a source of mental stress you didn't see coming. Picture this. You've finally saved enough for that long-awaited overseas trip or cross-country adventure. You've chosen the destination, maybe a stunning beach, a historic city, or a bucket list location you've dreamed about since childhood. You feel young at heart, enthusiastic, and ready for a little escapade. Then you realize your doctor's telling you to be cautious, your friends warn about hidden medical costs, and your own body occasionally reminds you that stamina isn't what it used to be. By the time you board the plane, your excitement is laced with anxieties you can't quite shake. This video is here to help you navigate those worries by talking about what can really go wrong, so you can plan smarter or decide if it's better to postpone your trip. Stick around until the end, because you might be surprised by the simplest advice that can save you from major trouble when you're miles away from home. Before we get into these dangers, remember, this isn't official medical or legal counsel. Consider it practical guidance from one traveler to another, intended to raise red flags and empower you to make the best choices. If you have underlying conditions or concerns, always consult a qualified professional. But do keep watching, because knowledge can be your strongest ally when it comes to traveling well after 70. If you're still here and eager to learn, please comment with the number 2. That lets me know you're engaged and ready to delve into these pitfalls. Let's begin with the first risk that older travelers face, often without realizing how significant it can be: the spike in health risks and limited access to medical care. As we age, our bodies accumulate a handful of chronic issues, maybe a heart condition, blood pressure irregularities, or respiratory troubles. At home, these might feel under control. You have your medications, your regular checkups, and a local emergency room you trust. But travel changes the game. Long flights can strain your circulation and increase the chance of blood clots or flare-ups in existing conditions. Crossing time zones can throw off your medication schedule, and if a serious health event arises on foreign soil, the local health facilities might not be up to the standards you're used to, or they may charge astronomical fees. Picture a friend of mine in his mid-70s who decided to embark on a tour of Southeast Asia. He felt spry and energetic before leaving, but 2 days into the journey, the humidity and long bus rides triggered an intense episode with his respiratory condition. He ended up seeking treatment in a small hospital that wasn't equipped to handle his flare-up. Suddenly, the vacation turned into a crisis that cost thousands of dollars. If you've never tried to negotiate overseas hospital bills or arrange an emergency flight home, trust me, it's a headache you don't want. Make sure you know where and how you'll get medical help before you pack those bags, and be certain you can afford it if you need it. I'll have more tips on protecting yourself near the end, so stay tuned. That leads us to another invisible trap: exhaustion from the journey itself and a slower recovery time. Anyone who's ever taken a red-eye flight or done a whirlwind bus tour knows travel is tiring. But when you're older, your body doesn't bounce back as easily. 8 hours on a plane followed by a 2-hour connection, then a train ride, can leave you feeling drained for days. Your immune system might weaken as a result, leaving you prone to colds, viruses, or muscle strains. This fatigue can creep up on you just when you want to be enjoying the sights. Instead, you might find yourself napping in a hotel room, missing out on what you traveled so far to see. Sure, younger folks get tired too, but they typically recover faster. In your 70s or beyond, that bounce back may not be so quick. If you cram too many activities into a short timeline, you risk pushing your body beyond its limit, and that can trigger a host of health problems. I recall a gentleman who booked a Mediterranean cruise with multiple stops, each port requiring walking tours over rugged cobblestones. By the third port, he was entirely spent, nursing sore joints and a throbbing headache. He realized his schedule was too ambitious, but everything was pre-booked and paid for. Instead of a relaxing holiday, he ended up forcing himself through tours while feeling miserable. If you're still with me, comment the number 4, because it's so important to understand how pacing affects your travel experience at any age, especially once you're past 70. Moving on, let's discuss a danger that many older travelers don't fully appreciate until it happens: the increased risk of falls and injuries. It sounds obvious. Bones get more fragile, balance can become iffy, but you'd be surprised how many seniors think they can handle irregular terrain, slippery stairs, or uneven sidewalks as effortlessly as they did at 50. Add to that the challenge of lugging suitcases, stepping onto unfamiliar public transport, or walking around a bustling foreign market, and you have a recipe for disaster. A simple trip on a curb can lead to a broken hip, a fractured wrist, or worse. Recovery times at this age are much longer. If you've ever had to watch a loved one struggle for months just to regain the ability to move without constant pain, you know how life-altering a single fall can be. When you're traveling, the situation is even riskier. You might be hours away from a decent hospital, or you may not speak the local language to explain your emergency. A friend's mother, a seasoned traveler in her 70s, broke her ankle on a hiking path in Europe. Evacuation by helicopter cost a small fortune and cut her trip short. That's not the adventure you want. If you suspect you have any issues with balance, or if your bones are weaker, consider whether certain destinations are truly feasible. Look into tours designed specifically for seniors, with easy pathways and support staff who understand the needs of older travelers. Another under-the-radar risk is exposure to infectious diseases and questionable food or water. Sure, younger people can also get sick, but older adults have a naturally weaker immune system, making them more vulnerable to whatever germs are lurking in crowded airports, rest stops, or tourist hotspots. Then, there's the matter of local cuisines and sanitation standards that your body simply isn't accustomed to. One bout of food poisoning can knock you out for days, leaving you dehydrated or worse, especially if you're already managing chronic conditions. In some regions, even the water you use to brush your teeth can carry bacteria or parasites. Younger, healthier systems might shrug off mild contamination, but for an older individual, it can become a serious illness. I once spoke with a traveler in her early 70s who picked up a stomach bug from street food. She thought it would be an authentic experience, which it was, until she ended up in a foreign hospital hooked to IV fluids. If you're not sure how your body will handle the local fare, at least carry some rehydration solutions or talk to your doctor about antibiotics you could take if needed. And if you're still with me on this journey through travel pitfalls, comment the number 6. It helps me see how many of you are truly absorbing these lessons. We're not done. Another hidden danger that might not sound physical at first, but can be just as devastating, is psychological stress and cultural shock. You might not expect to be anxious when you're setting out on what's supposed to be a fun trip, but stepping into a drastically different environment can be overwhelming at any age. Now, factor in the possibility of language barriers, unfamiliar transportation systems, and the fear of getting lost. Suddenly, that fun outing can feel like a high-stakes puzzle. If you're used to the comfort of your home routine and local support network, being miles away can heighten anxiety, especially if something goes wrong. People often romanticize travel as liberating or adventurous, but for an older person dealing with hearing aids, mobility aids, or memory lapses, a big city's bustle can bring on genuine panic attacks. Sleep might suffer, appetite could decline, and all that stress can feed back into physical health issues like high blood pressure or heart palpitations. It's crucial to be honest with yourself about whether you can handle the emotional toll of stepping into a different culture or environment. If you have a history of anxiety, consider traveling with someone you trust or choosing a destination that's slightly more predictable. Remember, it's supposed to be a vacation, not a crucible of fear. Then there's the issue of limited support if you're traveling alone or joining a tour that isn't senior-friendly. Younger people can often wing it, but older adults may need a little more structure. Someone to help carry bags, navigate tricky train stations, or assist if you feel unwell. If you're traveling solo at 30 and you catch a bad cold, you might manage, but at 70 plus, a bad cold can escalate to pneumonia more easily, and who will be there to notice you're getting worse? I know a woman who went on a cruise without telling her adult children she had been feeling dizzy for weeks. When her vertigo hit full force on board, the staff tried to help, but no one knew her medical history, and communication with her family back home was patchy at best. It took 2 days to get her off the ship for medical care. Had she traveled with family or a designated companion, the crisis might have been managed faster. If you're the type who values independence, that's admirable. But don't let pride put you in a dangerous situation. Ensure there's a safety net, maybe even a specialized senior travel group that focuses on older adults' needs. Lastly, we need to talk about money and insurance. Many older travelers assume their regular health insurance covers them abroad, but guess what? It often doesn't. Even a minor emergency can cost thousands of dollars out of pocket if you're in a place where your insurance doesn't apply. Then, there's the matter of trip cancellations due to sudden health problems. Without trip insurance, you might lose all the money you invested. Scams targeting seniors are also worryingly common, ranging from credit card fraud to fraudulent travel deals that vanish once you land. One man I spoke with tried to rent a vacation home online for what looked like a great price, only to find out it didn't exist. He lost his deposit, wasted his airfare, and had to scramble last minute for a hotel he could afford. Seniors often get targeted by these scams because criminals assume they're less tech-savvy or more trusting. It's essential to read the fine print on any deal, verify the legitimacy of rental listings or travel packages, and strongly consider purchasing travel medical insurance if you're going abroad. If you're still with me, comment the number 8, so I know you've learned something new that might protect your wallet or your health. Now that we've laid out these 7 hidden dangers, how do you address them? For the health risks and medical emergencies, talk to your doctor first. Have them review your conditions, medications, and the realities of traveling. They might adjust your prescriptions for time zone shifts or suggest you travel with a summary of your medical history in case you need local care. Check if your normal health insurance works abroad, and if not, shop for a temporary policy that covers you adequately. It could be the difference between returning home with just a story or with a crushing debt. As for fatigue and slow recovery, plan with caution. Build downtime into your itinerary. If you have a day of travel, consider resting the next day. Don't overbook tours, and if your body says it needs a break, listen to it. This is supposed to be fun, not an endurance test. For the risk of falls and injuries, assess the terrain of your destination. Many historical sites or natural wonders have uneven paths, steep steps, or minimal safety rails. If that's beyond your comfort level, there's no shame in picking somewhere safer. Or you might choose to travel with a group that provides assistance and ensures there's always someone to help you navigate. A walking stick or cane might also be your best friend, even if you think you don't need it at home. If you're dealing with chronic joint pain or osteoporosis, consider what happens if you slip and break a bone in a place where medical facilities are scarce or subpar. To combat infections and questionable food, do some research. Ask your doctor about vaccinations recommended for the areas you're visiting, everything from flu shots to vaccinations for specific regional diseases. Be selective with your meals. If you're uncertain about street food, it might be safer to eat in established restaurants with a reputation for cleanliness. Drink bottled water or, if you're concerned about plastic waste, bring a high-quality water filtration system specifically designed for travelers. Don't forget to pack probiotics or rehydration solutions if you think your body might be sensitive to new cuisines. Addressing psychological stress means being honest about what kind of traveler you truly are at this point in life. Are you up for the chaos of a foreign city with minimal English? Or would you feel more at ease in a slower-paced environment where you can communicate easily? Perhaps you're fine with city noise, but get anxious about rural isolation. There's no right or wrong. The key is matching your destination's vibe to your comfort zone. And if you do want to push yourself a bit, consider traveling with a friend, family member, or a reputable tour group that can step in if you feel overwhelmed. If you worry about having enough immediate support, seek out senior-focused travel agencies or tours that cater to older adults. These groups often have staff trained in first aid, offer accessible transportation, and plan itineraries with realistic walking distances and rest periods. They might also assist with carrying luggage or arranging wheelchairs if needed. Yes, these packages can be pricier, but they're designed to minimize stress and keep you safer. If you're still listening and see how vital these considerations are, comment with the number 10. Finally, let's reiterate the importance of good insurance and caution with money matters. Even a short trip can become expensive if you need emergency care. Shop around for travel insurance that covers medical evacuation, hospital stays, and trip cancellations, especially if you suspect any chance you might have to cut the trip short. It's also wise to set up notifications for your credit cards so you can spot suspicious activities quickly. Never carry all your cash in one place and avoid deals that seem too good to be true. That bargain might be a trap set specifically to exploit older travelers who don't suspect foul play. At this point, you might be wondering if you should cancel all travel plans. Not necessarily. Many seniors travel safely every day, enjoying cruises, guided tours, or even independent ventures. The difference is they prepare thoroughly. They know their limits, insure themselves properly, and aren't too proud to accept help when it's needed. If you approach travel with humility, knowledge, and the right resources, it can remain one of life's great joys at any age. However, if you have unresolved health issues or you're prone to significant anxiety, it's okay to postpone. The worst thing is forcing yourself into a stressful situation that could jeopardize your well-being. Maybe try local trips first, building confidence and gauging how your body responds to shorter journeys. And if you do decide to go farther, share your itinerary with family or close friends. Check in regularly so someone back home knows if something's gone wrong. Even little steps like scanning important documents, passport, medical info, travel insurance details, and storing them digitally can save you a world of trouble. If you've stayed with me through this entire discussion, please comment the number 12. Your willingness to stick around indicates you're truly committed to safe, smart travel choices. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you won't miss any future videos that can guide you toward healthier, safer living as you age. Every like, share, and comment helps others find this valuable information, and you might just be the person who saves someone else from an avoidable travel nightmare. In summary, the 7 hidden dangers for travelers over 70 are very real. From heightened health risks and insufficient medical access to crushing fatigue, increased fall risks, higher susceptibility to illnesses, psychological stressors in foreign environments, lack of immediate support systems, and the financial pitfalls of inadequate insurance or scam. Being aware of these hazards isn't meant to scare you away from seeing the world. Rather, it's a call to approach your trip with both optimism and caution. The freedom to explore is one of life's greatest privileges, and it can still be yours if you acknowledge the unique challenges age brings and plan accordingly. Imagine this scenario. You've done your research, talked to your doctor, bought the right travel insurance, picked a senior-friendly tour or a comfortable, easygoing destination, and spread out your itinerary to allow ample rest. You're aware of your limitations, but also excited about the adventures that await. In that case, your trip can be an enriching experience rather than a hazardous gamble. You'll come home with stories to share, photos to cherish, and memories that affirm you can still live life to the fullest, safely. Thanks so much for watching. If you have personal anecdotes or tips about traveling after 70, feel free to share them in the comments. Your experiences could help others navigate this stage of life more confidently. And remember, it's never too late to learn, adapt, and prepare. Whether you decide to explore a neighboring state or fly halfway around the world, make sure you're doing it with the knowledge and support you need to stay healthy, secure, and happy throughout your journey. Until next time, travel safe, and never let age alone dictate what you can or can't do, as long as you do it wisely. Safe travels, and I look forward to connecting with you in the next video.